the mail, you're going to think, oh, she must be a conservative. I'm the conservative.
This next question has to do with illegal immigration, and we'll begin with Mr. Mansfield. To slow illegal immigration, a government website could be set up where employers can check Social Security numbers and verify U.S. citizenship prior to employment. Businesses that choose not to check the website or hire people knowing that they are illegal should be fined. The fine should be modest at first and increase with each offense until the employer complies. Here's the question. Would you be in or for or against such a system?
Sure. I think anything that we can do to make our border safe and to make sure that we're hiring people who are here legally, I think that's fair. And I see two sides. One, I have some relatives who are from Argentina who have come here the right way, and it's taken them 12 years, and they're still not U.S. citizens, and they've spent over $16,000 to become U.S. citizens, and they're still not one yet. And so I think it's a slap in their face that they came here the right way. They have excellent jobs. One just got a master's from NYU and has done exceptionally well, and other people just walk across the border and they get it for free. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think it's American. But I also believe that in this argument, we must stay away from the rhetoric that causes people like my wife, who is half Argentine and half Puerto Rican, from her brothers who have been pulled over twice in Florida only because they were brown. Both of them served, one in the Marines and one in the U.S. Air Force. So we got to stay away from the rhetoric that actually points at people who are U.S. citizens. But certainly I believe if you work in the United States, you should be here legally. And we should find those companies.
Well, I definitely would support it. I'm the child of an immigrant. My mother grew up in exile from her birth country, and then immigrated to the United States when she married my father at the end of World War II. And her parents came with her. They immigrated appropriately and followed all the rules. And my mother went through naturalization process and became a United States citizen, of which she was very proud. And I really believe that part of the problem is that employers are seeking ways to find labor at a lower dollar than they would pay for a United States citizen to have that labor, and I believe that they are just as guilty as the people who come here illegally. And so if we have a method by which we can ensure that they're not hiring illegals and doing it knowingly, then they should be punished, and I believe that that will help solve some of our problem. But we certainly also must secure our borders as well.
Folks, every single one of us, all your relatives, your forefathers, every one of you sitting right here is a result of someone immigrating to this country. It might have been in 1890s like my grandparents. It might have been back in the 1700s like some of your grandparents, or whatever that is, great-great-great-grandparents. So the issue isn't, is immigration good or bad? The whole issue is we have to control our borders. We have to do it right. We have to do it properly. The only concern I have about this national system that was proposed is anybody familiar with Social Security numbers? Yeah, everybody's got one, right? And how are you tracked by it? Everything you do. In the military, there's no more service numbers. It's your Social Security numbers. So my one caution in this setting up any national system is that it won't grow into something it was never intended to be, just like the Social Security number that every one of us has, and you're tracked by it for bank accounts, for everything else.
I would vote for, and I also believe that what has happened to our labor force in North Carolina and the United States is that employers or those that are employing the immigrants can do that at less cost than what our wage is. So what we're doing is the money usually is not even staying in North Carolina or the United States. It's going back across the border to benefit their families across the border. So my concern is, yes, we've got to regulate it, because I believe if those that are employing them had to pay the wage that is the fair wage that we're supposed to be paying as small business owners, what would happen would be, again, you would see our labor force being more equitable. You would also see many of these immigrants might not come to the United States if they were held accountable to what you have to do to become a citizen.
Yes, we have got to get our illegal immigration problem under control. Keep in mind Arizona, Texas, and Georgia, and then there's a state called North Carolina we're the fourth largest illegal immigration problem. And it was Nikita Khrushchev. Now, I don't know, I think Joe Rogers was alive then, when Nikita Khrushchev said, "We will beat you from the inside. We will bury you." And that's what they're going to do to us, folks. They're going to slowly take over. It's unfortunately like a cancer, and we have got to stop it. We've got to invest in solving this problem. And it's not just a North Carolina problem. Georgia's got a terrible problem. Texas, Arizona. I mean, it's a problem that's going to require possibly a lot more money applied to it, and where we find the money, I don't know, but we're going to have to find the money. We're going to have to reduce the bureaucracy in Raleigh, and by doing that, we can then hopefully put some more money in the classroom and put some more money to fight illegal immigration.
Last but not least, we have to fight illegal immigration. And as an employer, I follow all state and federal guidelines when I hire my employees. I am not the ID police. And to answer your question, sir, yes, I would support ID. I'm sorry, I got a little ramped up, so this hits very close to home for me. But yes, I do support that. Illegal immigrants tax our system. They tax our roads. They tax our hospitals. They tax our Medicaid system. Everything we do, we have to present an ID. When I go buy a car, when I get insurance, when I cash a check, everywhere I go, I have to produce an ID. We need an ID system, and we need to get tough on illegal immigration because they are taxing North Carolina to death. Thank you.
The mind cannot endure what the seat can endure, so what I would like to do at this time, beginning with Mr. Dawkins, is for each candidate to have a 1-minute closing remark of their choosing.
Well, I'd like to have about 5 minutes, but I'll make it happen in 1 minute. Folks, this election is up to you, and it's truly about you. As I mentioned earlier, I want you to call 5 folks. I want you to email 15 or 20 folks. I want you to take folks to the poll. Here's the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. Democrats have always believed that the government knows how best to spend your money. These Republicans up here believe that you know best how to spend your money. We're asking for your vote. I'm encouraging you to look at each one of us, tell your friends about us, and say, look, we've got to have a change in North Carolina, and it's got to be something that's going to make a difference for our children and our grandchildren. It was Ronald Reagan that said, no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is as formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women, and I add, as free men and women of we the people. Thank you.
File for election, that I would not spend money, that unless it was given to me, that you would not have to worry, and I continue that promise. So if you don't see the slick flyers and you don't see the ads in the radio and TV, know that I'm going there without any cronyism and without owing anyone anything, nor will I mortgage the house to get there. I believe that we have to come back to the people being able to be represented in Raleigh, and that's what I go there for. I also want you to know that I believe instead of saying the word change, we need to say new direction. I think that was used in 2008, and it's worn out. We have got to go there with some new minds, some new ideas, and we've got to go there with the promise to you that we will listen to you while we're there. And I guess one of my new slogans that came when I spoke to a class is, I'll go there and I'll fight like a girl.
Folks, elections are contests of ideas. You've heard where I stand on the issues. You've heard where everybody up here stands on these issues that are important to you, because that's why you're asking these questions. So the question you have to ask yourself is, who do you stand with? who best represents what you believe in? Is it me? Is it my opponent? That's the choice you have to make. Because whoever you elect, you have to make sure that they are going to stand up for what you believe in, and you have to make sure that they're going to stand up and have the strength of character and will to stand up and talk the principles and not get involved in all the politics of the day-to-day stuff. It's a contest of ideas. Examine your own ideas. Make an informed choice.
Once again, thank you for allowing me to be here. And, you know, I talked about myself when I got started. I want to talk about my opponent for just a moment. Dr. Mansfield and I disagree on how we should get things done, but I believe that his heart is truly the desire to have the best for the people of the state that he would represent. He has been a gentleman. He has been courageous to come in places where people would not expect. If you'll notice, he is the only Democrat candidate that's here tonight. And I appreciate his candor and his honesty, and I appreciate the values that he holds. The difference between us is how we get to the goals we're trying to achieve. I'm much more in belief that the individual has the way to go, and based on, and you heard the answers tonight, I would say that he probably believes that the state has a much more role to play than I do. But I want to thank him for being here tonight, and thank him for also not digging into the depths that some people do when they run political campaigns. So, Dr. Mansfield, thank you so much.
Thanks, Wade. That was mighty kind, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate him saying that. He's right. I'm the only Democrat here because I believe that it's not party, it's not politics, it's people. And I went to the fair tax meeting because I wanted to hear what they had to say, because if the Lord allows me to win, I represent everybody. And if I'm courageous enough to come here and stand before you and give you my beliefs, I'll be courageous enough to stand up in Raleigh for you and to give them your beliefs as well. I believe that we can debate without being disagreeable. I believe that the greatest part of us is that we can work together, that we should not allow people to hijack either party, but we should believe in our core values. People don't hate us around the world because we're Democrat or Republican. They hate us because we're Americans. And I'm not a Democrat first, I'm an American first. And I believe that what we do together can outfar what either party can do individually. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about how important this election is. We have got to pray that God will convict the voters' hearts in North Carolina, because we have got to make a difference for this state, and we've got to make a difference for this country. So I would just ask everybody in here, when they leave here tonight, to go home and pray that God will convict all the people of North Carolina and all the people of the United States to go to the polls and vote, and that His will be done. And I'd ask everybody out here to share with them that they've come to this forum what they've heard, and tell 2 or 3 people. And in early voting, get everybody out to vote. On election day, if you've got to have donuts at your house and coffee, and get people together, but get out, let everybody know who was here tonight, what they said, and how you feel about it. And just support the candidate of your choice, but you can make a difference, and please do. Thank you.
Thank you.